Excellent. Now all I have to do is wait for you to tell me.
Hey, aren't you the drug that's been putting weird junk in my stuff?
What? No, I'm not here to ruin your things. I'm just here to give you some punch.
Punch?
Oh, better luck next time.
You son of a bitch!
Oh, hi everyone. Sorry for the delay. I've just recently found out about a little security issue I'm having. Hopefully that should fix things.
Alrighty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make. I am a huge kaiju fan. What's a kaiju, some of you may be asking? Well, the literal translation from the Japanese word means strange monster, although in more technical terms, even in Japan, it's been normally now referring to actual giant monsters. And if you want evidence of this, you can look over there, up here, and there. Yes, I'm a huge Godzilla fan, and I know quite a bit about the background and making of especially the 50s through 70s movies. But I digress. Godzilla himself is not actually going to be really a part of this review. However, his creator will be. Enter A.G. Tsuburaya, considered to be the godfather of special effects. He was the man who was thought after and brought in to do the Godzilla special effects. Having never done anything like this before in Japan, they had to do it from scratch. And what they have, if you ever see the original version, is awesome. However, sadly, in the 1970s, A.G. Tsuburaya actually died prematurely. Not sure, I not figured out what the technical things were about it, but in 1970 he died, and they really struggled to keep the Godzilla films going. His company that he left upon death, though, was given off to his sons. And before leaving, he of course left the Tsuburaya Industries studio, as well as a popular television show that was among its first productions, which was Ultraman. Ultraman from the beginning is a being from the space nebula M78, who upon chasing a monster through the vicinity of Japan, happens to crash into Science Patrol pilot Shin Hayata. Feeling remorse for the loss of the human, who was also trying to protect his world, Ultraman merges with him, henceforth saving his life, and also giving Hayata the Beta capsule. With this, Hayata is able to actually call upon Ultraman's help when needed. Now, for the most part, this show can be considered a Monster of the Week type of show, but there are little interesting tidbits that constantly link you back to what happened previously throughout the series. So there are bits and pieces that you will want to have seen in order to get the full story as it slowly goes through. Is it a big, massive story that interlinks everything? Not particularly. There's just a few throwbacks and going, hey, don't you remember this? This was really cool, wasn't it? Let's revisit that. Particularly, there are a couple of monsters, even in this season alone, that actually make multiple appearances. I can think of at least 3 of them for sure that make more than one appearance. Besides that, before we actually get into the really good stuff of the show, let's look at the worst thing about this show. This is Dada. I mean, just look at him.
Believe it or not, you must fear me.
But seriously, you just look at him and laugh. But what you don't realize at first glance is he's a very intelligent monster. He's able to make physical copies of himself, teleport around, and even shrink down to human size and even starts threatening Hayata's boss. But the best of all is this little mind screw moment made just for Ultraman himself. It's just awesome to see the Ultraman costume on a normal human scale for a change. But yes, this is the worst the show ever gets. And even it's not that bad, so all considering, this is a really good show. A few episodes in and we get a few actual really popular monsters for good reasons this time. The first of which is Baltan. Just watch this. Now, wouldn't that scare the pants off any kid, even in this day and age? Great stuff. Baltan, like the other monsters, continued on in the series, making appearances that are just as good, although there are a few that were pretty darn silly. But always seems to be on his game for most of the time. The next monster to mention is Red King. He's an odd, almost dinosaur-looking monster. He takes on at least 2 appearances in the show, the first of which he kills off another monster called Pigmon. Pigmon, we should probably mention here really quick, is a small human-sized monster who is, I believe, accidentally crushed in an avalanche in his first appearance alongside Red King. And later on, when he's brought back to life by some sort of monster chieftain, he is again killed, but this time more directly, as a monster essentially just goes on him for bothering him and then tries to walk off. But I digress. Back to Red King. In his first appearance, he actually kills off a different monster, then goes on a rampage around a small island. And on this island, they already killed and or harmed numerous scientists. This, of course, ends with the normal Ultraman wrestling match and a nice explosive end to it. The second time he appears, he comes out of a mountainside, kind of Rodan-esque, out of Ghidorah, the three-headed monster kind of opening there. But because of the way he suddenly randomly appears all over the place, it's led him to be kind of the cannon fodder monster. There seems to be so many of them that you'll easily find another one and destroy it. It's almost a guarantee. There must be numerous ones dropping from space or just growing underground or something, which is quite possibly the reason why he appears in almost every Ultra show. He's just the cannon fodder of monsters. But compared to most cannon fodder, he's a little bit more hardcore, and because of that, he's gained a lot of respect from the fan base, even though he never really seems to win at anything. Anyway, on his second appearance, he apparently swallows an atomic bomb and is cut in 3 pieces in order to try and get the bomb out by Ultraman, who then disposes of it. Again, this one has made many appearances in other Ultraman shows and is, of course, a big favorite. He's not that tough compared to the other one, but he is a noteworthy monster who, over time, has actually improved his appearance. The next one is Gamora. Gamora is more than just another dinosaur-looking monster for the series. He's actually been officially labeled as the second most strongest monster known to the Ultraman universe, with varying small occasions of big bosses that they're only ones of the race. I mean, how often does that happen? But he's most definitely the second strongest monster in all of the original Ultraman series, and he's only been outdone by what is going to be my next monster I mentioned in this review. Gamora is also the only monster that had such a long and great story that it needed to be a two-parter season alone. Like the other monsters, he has returned quite often and pummeled Ultraman anew, mopping the floor with him. But unlike them, he normally can deliver a good number of pummelings and even nearly killed the original Ultraman in his first appearance. Nowadays, he has also come out to be a hero in a spin-off show, Ultra Galaxy Mega Monster Battle. That just rolls right off the tongue, don't it? I guess the Japanese are really into big names like that. But in this, Gamora is kind of a summon for this character named Rei, although he does also feel what the monsters feel while battling, so he's kind of, shall we say, physically or mentally linked to them somehow. But Rei and Gamora have also appeared in about 3 other movies together, making Gamora either the most badass villain or the greatest hero, depending upon which version you find. If you're finding a wild one, you're probably toast. Last but not least is Zeton. Zeton is a robotic humanoid thing from another planet, and with very few exceptions to other supreme beings in the universe, he is quite possibly the strongest robot or monster, depending upon how you view it, in the entire Ultraman galaxy, and makes only a few appearances because, quite frankly, if he's appearing, he's going to rake the floor with you. Taking on some slightly varying forms, Zeton hasn't changed too much in the run of his appearances.
He's the last monster for the original Hayata Ultraman series, and he deserves that position. He's so strong, in fact, that he actually breaks the counter on Ultraman's chest. And because of this, Ultraman overextends himself and is left a lump on the ground. Zeton is only destroyed later by the Science Patrol with a super secret weapon that they hadn't even had a chance to test yet. After this, Zulfi, a Ultraman look-alike with extra embroidered gems on him, takes Ultraman back home and came with extra energy so that Hayata can finally live his life on his own. Even though we've proven this to be a broken idea because Ultraman joins with Hayata later on.
And so ends our series in a big bang with a huge monster battle, and they save you, and the excuse for why the hero will not be on Earth any longer, or at least for a very long time. So this is actually a really good show. Even the special effects, all considered, are really great, especially considering that this is a 60s show. Put this in perspective for you. This show was going on around the same time between William Hartnell giving up Doctor Who and Patrick Troughton starting it. This show is in color, unlike Doctor Who, has massive special effects to try and keep up with, giant monsters, miniature models, people being saved on a regular basis by giants, or being nearly destroyed by them. And to also continue this a little bit, Doctor Who and Ultraman are still going on. The TV shows are still going on, and Ultraman himself has actually moved on to do movies. Massive, massive movies. But the sad truth of everything is that the Ultraman show is not getting what it deserves. After the Ultraman the Great, there hasn't been really much of any porting of the shows to American shores anymore. Apparently it was just that bad, and that's what also spawned off the Super Nintendo fighting game. Really, seriously, this show deserves more attention now. It is already well and beyond, right off the bat, outdone Ultraman Great. But maybe, sometime in the near future, one of these companies will get the bright idea that, you know what, maybe all these shows need is just a little bit of dubbing with the correct voice cast.